Hello. Hope you're all doing well, and I hope this isn't too loud. Let me see here. Let me compare my audio levels. All right. Hopefully that should be okay. Hopefully. We'll see. Anyway, hi. Um, Welcome to the stream today. Before I get into doing what we're saying we're going to do first, I just want to plug someone real quick. If you like programming, go watch L:Q on Tuesdays and Fridays, because I was catching up on this stream, 7-hour stream, of him making like hacking NetHack to display sprites and encyclopedia entries about what monster he just ran into in the game, and it was really, really cool and interesting. So, yeah, that's all. I just wanted to plug that because it was really cool. So, anyway, so we're gonna program today. That's the plan, and I've been wanting to program more recently on stream and just haven't been doing it, I guess. But let me show you my program that I have so far, and then we're gonna refactor it a little bit is the plan. I also have really weird chips. I got them at the gas station. They're Cool Ranch Doritos flavor Lay's, which is weird because they do taste like Cool Ranch, but they also taste like Lay's, and that's really weird. So let me tell you more about this program. And also, I don't know, maybe I don't want to do Lane today as far as music goes. I do really love the soundtrack. I've been listening to it a lot recently. But also just been listening to breakcore more recently while I program, and it's been like good at keeping my head out of the way. So we're gonna look at the code, refactor some things, and then I found this really good library. It looks like the JDA wiki that had some really nice examples of making like super simple ping pong bots and those kind of things on Discord. And I got into my head that it'd be fun to experiment with that and maybe make like tic-tac-toe or something like that. So yeah. But yeah, let me walk you through this. So I made a blog post, what was it, like 2 weeks ago or something like that, when the rename command in Windows was so goddamn slow that I managed to beat it writing writing this version of the file, just like a super fast, like go rename all the JFIF files into JPEGs. And since then, I've been fiddling with it more and having a good time experimenting with things. And I started making a GUI for it. Said GUI looks like this, where it pops up, it scans the input directory that you give it, and then populates all the extensions that it finds, and then you can tell it to rename to whatever you want, and you can do it recursively, or you can not, or you can do a dry run to see like, hey, I would go and I would not rename these 6 files, et cetera, et cetera. So, or you can see if if we did do this, then it would say, hey, I'm going to rename the markdown file to JPEG, because that totally makes sense, and we'd get really interesting data from that. So let me, ooh, that was cool. So the idea that I want to do today is refactor it a little bit more, because I haven't committed all the code yet because I'm not happy with it. I'm decently happy with some of this stuff so far, namely that I made a nice little input parser that I quite like. It's just a bunch of static methods. You can see we've got our inputs, and you pass them to the program. GUI true, path this, out that, etc. And there's even help text and all those other things, so that you can use this as a command line tool, or you can use it as a GUI tool, because I like swing for some reason. I don't know why, but I like making swing things. It's just kind of fun. So we've got the input parsing. We're not going to refactor that. That's going to stay as is. But if you pass the GUI flag to the input, then it goes ahead and it launches the window up, as opposed to calling the command line interface which I'll show you real quick, is super simple, right? It's basically a main function that takes arguments, and it exits if you ask it to. It figures out the logging if you give it the verbose flag, and then it just pulls out all the extensions, whether it's recursive or not, etc., etc. Fails if you didn't give it a path because screw you. And then if you're actually logging, it logs out a bunch of information, and then it proceeds to construct a path consumer, which then proceeds to get wrapped in a dry run action if the dry run flag was given. And then after it's done, if it's a directory, we walk the file tree, and if it was actually just a single file, then it goes ahead and it changes the file. So yeah, that's basically the short of this bit. There's a number of things going on in here. The update extension action is just a regular old consumer of paths, which does exactly what it sounds like, right? Like if the extension matches, then it goes ahead and it gets the new path and then proceeds to move said file over and replace the existing file that is there if it happens to be, rewritable. So that's the update extension action. We're not going to change that. That can stay there. I do like that I have my dry run action, which is also a conditional consumer. Ooh, there's a refactor we can do. I don't think this actually needs to do this anymore because conditional consumer is a consumer. So that's just a side effect of a little bit of nonsense that I was doing before. But yeah, dry run basically takes in and wraps something. It's a decorator. And if it would take action, it says, hey, I would. And if it wouldn't, it says, I would not. You can see it in action down there in the logs and also in the GUI bit. So those do that. Logging helper is just dealing with the fun, interesting things about Java logging. I think that's all the classes you really need to know, besides the path visitor, of course, which if you've ever used the Java NIO package, it's a simple file visitor, which just recursively walks things. And if we're recursing, then we go ahead and we continue. Otherwise, we skip subtrees. So super simple, takes in the consumer, proceeds to give the consumer files, and it does everything you expect it to do. We also have an audit record class, but I'll show you why that exists in a minute. So in the dry run world, again, following from your main world, the rename window runner, which is a terrible name, and I'm probably going to rename it at some point, but for now, that's what its name is. It takes in those arguments, proceeds to set up some stuff. I have a little builder class that basically is just building up these arguments. Here, I'll show you. Right, so you can see here, when we click this, the is recursion in the builder is going to be set to true or not. Same thing with dry run. This thing is the output extension. This is the input extension, etc. Right. So this builder is just your typical thing. And the only thing that makes it even somewhat special is the fact that it has a can run method, which is used pretty heavily elsewhere. Which is basically just a validation method that says yes, it is valid. It could be used. It doesn't actually build anything. So by that logic, builder is kind of a bad name for it. And we might revisit that because we could theoretically move these things into its own class and have this thing build that and do X, Y, Z and the other things. But I don't know if I really care yet. So, but yeah, so can run is important. And then we get a bunch of inputs. When you run this thing, obviously you pass it the GUI equals true, but it also can take in a path because it needs a path in order to actually work properly. This out is just, okay, so this is me holding on to something because I didn't want to erase all of it, because dot is not really the path that I want to be using. It's actually the path here, because then it just gives it to this directory here, which is my test directory. And you can see, go for it, rename it to that, and then you can see it would do that. So it'd go down into and it would look at this and it would rename the text things. And if you tell it not to be recursive, then it would only rename the one, right? Super simple, super easy, understandable, right? But because I'm lazy and didn't want to do things, I just did this because there's a reason, basically. I was testing the progress bar and I needed more files, so I hit it with the dot because then it gets like all of the .git the .git files. So it has 1,000 things to go over and like process and whatnot, which makes it more interesting. And dry run is actually enabled when you run it, but you can see when I do this that the percentage actually goes up. I think it's now like officially like lazy, but the progress bar goes, etc. And we have a different window for dry run versus actual run, which is something that I think I'm going to change, and that's part of the refactoring that we're going to do. It's pretty good stuff here. Pretty good stuff here. Because I like the progress bar that I added, and it's just a J progress bar. But also they're doing the same thing, really. Like they're just listing off what you did and what you didn't do, etc. This one's better because I made it so it automatically flies over to this side, so you can just see the file names, because that's more what you're interested in, probably not so much the absolute paths of things. But yeah, so that's that. So yeah, the rename window, we pull out all the arguments that we get, same usual input, etc., right? There's some reasonable defaults if they're not set. Like wherever you ran the thing is going to be the input path if you didn't pass anything. So I guess technically speaking, I could, rather than do this, I could do other things. Anyway, like I could just do foo, give it something that's not real, and then say gpig run. Yeah, so just to not have a bunch of garbage in there, which is good. But yeah, so it sets reasonable defaults on things and then proceeds to get called, from over there run. I do have a lovely little method called set look and feel, which I made a little class to deal with the UI manager. And it was interesting, the blog post that I found with the look and feel stuff versus Oracle's documentation on look and feel, the Oracle documentation was actually better, surprisingly, considering that it's been broken recently. The last time I went to Oracle's documentation, all their images were broken on their website, which sure was cool. Excuse me. The reason why it was cool, by the way, not you. Hold on. Oh wait, no, it's this one, right? Yeah, so it's still broken. See, like a visual guide to layout managers, a picture of a GUI that uses board layout. There is no picture. Man, that's so mad. It makes me so mad because it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, anyway, let's stop faking ending the stream. But yeah, it's silly that that's like that. Anyway, so the look and feel stuff, there's a number of different ones. I just made a really simple helper class that takes in like the order of looks that you would like to feel in order, and then proceeds to try to find the first one that it can actually run, and then it sets that, etc. So you can see I have Nimbus, Metal, etc. If I rerun these things like with Windows, right, you can see we get Windows style, so it gets quite a bit more boxy. Not a bad thing. And like, the checkbox are more checkbox like, etc. You can see the progress bar is very Windows like, etc. Right? The text gets smaller for whatever reason. Metal is the default Java one, so like it will probably look very familiar to anyone who's ever done Swing stuff. This is probably what you're actually used to seeing, right? I actually like the progress bar a decent amount. But of course, the one that I've been like prototyping with and using, I guess, has been Nimbus, because I kind of like the way it's got like the special or whatever it's called, bezel. I like the way this like isn't flat, like that it just goes like boop and it's there. I also like the progress bar being orange. That's cool too. But you know, it's whatever. So this is just me enjoying myself and learning things. So you know, that's set look and feel. The main frame is the thing you can see. I've got some helper methods for adding the instructions, etc., and then positioning everything according to a grid bag layout, and then of course packing and returning, etc. And then after we set up stuff, we add the data in, we set up actions, and then we set divisible, and we're good to go. The data is the slightly interesting part, I guess, in that the extension list and the calculate extensions is the thing that is doing some actual work. This was like the interesting part that kind of was the inspiration for why I wanted to make the swing UI in the first place to some extent, because I was like, oh, what's a swing worker? And then I was like, oh, I need a way to do something with swing workers. So this was it. So the extensions list extension is a worker that goes through, and it is the thing that populates this list on the side here, right? So it's actually traversing everything that it can find, which theoretically, depending on where you would start this file, could be your entire operating system. So it shouldn't be done on the main UI thread. It should be done, you know, in a background thread with a worker, which is what this does. So, you know, we get a new input extension list worker, which is a swing worker that will, you know, eventually emit the hash set of strings, so all the unique things, and then also emits partial results as it goes. That way, if it's slow, you still get stuff to populate, so you have it to choose from, essentially. So that's that. We probably could refactor some of this a little bit. I did go through and refactor one thing already, but yeah. So that's the extension list is just the extension list, right? And then the other data is just, you know, setting everything according to the options that we have constructed so far. So nothing too crazy there. Actions is something that I've been thinking about refactoring, but I don't know if we should or not. There's like a couple of different ways that I've been thinking about we could go about this. Right now, this is the action listener because it was the simplest thing to do at the time, and it keeps everything pretty simple overall, and simple's nice. So basically just, you know, all our checkboxes and the buttons and those kind of things. Add a listener, which of course is ourself. So there's action performed, right? If you cancel, then we leave. If it's a dry run, you know, we toggle the option, or whether we go through and we change the options, etc. See, like a lot of these things are just setting the options, and that's the thing that makes me kind of want to maybe consider refactoring that, because it almost feels like I should wrap the options in its own little thing that listens for the events and then like gets them. The only problem with that is that it feels a little silly, I guess, because it's like, well, you have the options right here. As opposed to like having to do the options and then do other stuff. I don't know. It's just one of those things where like I started going down that path for a hot second and then backed out of it when it started to feel not great. So, yeah, basically. So there's that. The go button is always set to whether or not we can run or not, which is why it's disabled at the start, right? So disabled, doesn't matter what you do here. If you haven't selected an actual input, then you can't. And of course, if you get rid of the extension become, it's also disabled. But the moment you add something new, then it's happy and ready to go. So we don't really need the print line anymore there. And then the dry run frame and the rename progress frame, which is the two things that I think we're going to be refactoring today, is the main focus. Kind of just get ran if you're going to do this, which also like this is fine and good, but also I feel like we could change this. I'll show you one thought that I was having. The other thing that I kind of want to look into exploring, I'm not sure if we'll actually be able to do it or not because I don't know how smart I am today, is the list model inside of these things. So one of the things you might notice here, well, hold on. Let me do this. This is a better example. So this, like you can see it has all like the would not renames, etc. If I scroll down long enough, I'll probably find one where it would rename something because there has to be at least one file or else it wouldn't show the extension in here. It's just a giant wall of stuff. But I was thinking maybe I should sort the output of this, you know, so that like it's easy to find things that may or may not have changed. Like sort and or group by whether it did or did not do it, right? Which I guess like sorting it would do that, right? Like it would group them because it would sort this entire thing. So yeah, that's, and doing that I think would be done through the, not through here, sorry, through the model that is part of the list inside of those things. So we can look at it doing that. But yeah, so that's a little bit of the refactoring that I want to do, and that's the brief overview of my program, just so you know where we are and what we're doing. So let's actually get started. So one thing that I was noticing, right, about this in general is that I'm always, for both of these, for the dry run worker and the rename worker, I'm basically just passing the options and then the number of files to process, right? And they're actually using a shared class. And I don't actually save the options in here because I don't need them. But I am saving the number of files to check because I do actually need that just to compute the progress as we go through. So I do need both of those. But one thing that I was thinking about was like, well, if I don't need the option builder, it's like maybe I should just pass in the actual worker instead, or rather like the type of worker, because the only difference for dry run and rename worker, of course, is the action they're doing, right? And whether they're going to do update or dry run. So it's super simple overall, and good, right? Like these two are fine, and I like the way they're set up. But if you go to the frames, the dry run frame or the rename progress frame, and look at it, again, looking at the inputs, right? I have the option builders, so like the options coming in here, and the only thing that's actually using this is like the run, right? Which is, this is just a safety guard against myself. Like this is defensively programming against myself to make sure that's like, hey, don't execute the worker unless it actually has the options to run, or else something weird might happen, right? Which is already guarded here. So like I'm being a little bit hyperactive, I suppose, as far as like being defensive goes. But so I could drop that, right? And then theoretically, I don't really need to bring the options anymore in here. And then same with number of files. This one's is just really used to this. So like both of these things, right? If I take this away, this can run. They're only useful for the worker that you're passing in, right? And if they're only useful for the worker you're passing in, then why not just pass in the worker? And if you only need to pass in the worker, then why not just have a general like status, like worker status frame or something like that, right? And then I can pass either the renamer or the dry runner in, right? So like rather than making the frame, I make the worker that you need and then give it to the frame and then show the frame, right? Like, I don't know. I just think that sounds nice. So that's going to be the first refactor that we do. Additionally, the dry run frame is basically the same thing as the other frame because I made it first while I was like rapidly prototyping, essentially, right? And it doesn't have a progress bar, but besides that, it's literally the same thing. So there's no reason to have it because we should just consolidate and get rid of extra code. So that's what we're going to do. So I think the first thing that I want to do, this is how we do it, is we're going to go to the rename progress frame, and we're going to change this worker, nice caps lock, worker status frame. And sure, go ahead and rename some local variables too. Yeah, have fun. Right, so then that's good. We now have a lovely thing. And then secondly, I want to change this. So what we'll do, right, is we shall change this to be a conditional consumer worker. We'll name this worker. Save that. Go up here. And then I'm going to make my conditional consumer worker equals new. This will be my rename worker. Options, extensionless get file scene, and then we'll pass it in here. Right? No more errors. Everything continues to work. We haven't changed any functionality. It's beautiful, right? It's good to go. So continuing on with that idea, like this is good, this works, right? There's now no longer a reason here because we are going to go change this logic. We're going to stop being so defensive about this. Or even, actually, you know, why don't we do you hold on to yourself, don't you? Yes, it does. You know what? Let's do this. Let's move that functionality around as well, right? We'll do public boolean can work. How about can execute? And we'll return this dot options dot can run. Beautiful. And then I'm going to take that, go here, do that, change this, do that, do this. Bam. And now we have the same guard, but we don't have the dependency on the options anymore. Right? Beautiful. Which means we can now, oh, Jesus, go up here, nix this, kill that, goodbye this. Don't have this anymore. Don't have this anymore, but also don't need this anymore, and can just go swoop and get rid of that. Do this. Call that a day. Worker is a worker. The worker, of course, for the original rename thing was the subclass. So let's change that to this. And now that works just fine. Go ahead and have a good time. As soon as I fix this, right? Now these arguments have changed. It just wants the worker. Give it to the worker. And this is only for non-dry run things. Bam. Shows the renaming window. Good. Right? So successful refactor is successful so far. But of course, the dry run window still exists, right? So let's fix that. So this is all good, etc. Let's go to this. Now that we can give any worker status frame its thing, right? Let's instead do this. So we don't need the dry run frame anymore. Rather, I'm going to do this. If it is a dry run, the worker is going to be a dry run worker with options and extensionless get file scene as usual. And then I don't even need this else anymore, right? This is just like, hey, I need to get the worker. We could even move this to a helper function, probably is what we'll do. But then I just need my worker status frame, right? So kill that, unindent this, do that. Bam, bang, bang. Now, even when I run a dry run, we get a progress bar and, you know, all this stuff. So now we're reusing that instead of using the dry run, which, you know, this thing says renaming, which still is okay, I guess. I have an idea about how to change that. We could change the to do give worker name to JFrame text. We do that. But so this is good. I like this, but also I am going to go ahead and change all this. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to use IntelliJ. Well, it's not. Oh wait, how about this? There we go. Extract method. Get conditional consumer worker. Yeah, get worker. Beautiful. I gotta say, like, a lot of people shit on various tools, but the refactoring support in IntelliJ IDEA is phenomenal. Like, it really is really good, I think. So anyway, that's good. So now we have that. We have the get worker, etc. We'll make this protected just in case we want to test it at some point. It would be easier to be able to override that. So there we go. Get the worker. Do this. Yeah. So there we go. There's the worker status frame. And now we can go to the dry run. And it says it has usages. Again, I just praised IntelliJ. This is a place where IntelliJ kind of fucks up a lot, I think. Dry run frame is no longer used, right? So Alt, Enter, Save, Delete, Delete. We no longer need the code. Let's get rid of it. Hardest thing for a lot of people to do, I think, is delete code. But that makes it easier. So there we go. Now we have just a singular worker frame, and it does its best. Lovely. Cool. Worker status frame. All right, let's do this part. So to give this a good name, right? Probably like status, and then blah, blah, blah. What? This is gonna look real bad, but show me it anyway. Whoops. Show me it anyway. Go. Yeah, status whole thing. I mean, it does show you the dry run worker versus rename worker, so it does give you that. But why don't we go to this and then abstract string get worker name. Bam, congratulations, we now have related problems, right? So go here because we need to implement this. So this is a dry run worker. Dry run. Sure. Dry run worker. Beautiful. Rename worker. Implement the method. Return. Renaming worker. So now that exists on both of these, which is lovely. And then I can go here and I can say get worker dot get worker name. The word worker doesn't look good. Make it public. Did I not make it public? Oh, I guess I didn't. Okay, well, now it is. Cool. So now, do this, click a button, status of dry run worker, status of renaming worker. Yeah. So that feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. All right. So we've unified our status windows. We made it so that you can tell which one is apart in case you forgot which button you clicked because you're an idiot. And then we're good. Cool. So that's good. Yeah, that's pretty decent. So let's go here. All right, this was from my spin lock. Actually, you want to see it? Hold on. Where's my spin lock code? Did I get rid of it? I think I did. I did. Yeah. Oh, I haven't even committed the progress bar in here. Or rather, the code that's supporting the progress bar. Sometimes I go quickly with some of these things, and other times I don't. So I do generally like to try to say I don't actually want this. yeah, I'll leave that uncommitted. But we will add the worker name and then go to the worker. And then we'll split this and just include that line. Good. So then let's see, add worker name for workers. So we can show it in a JFrame. Header? What window name? Window name. Dindo. Window name. You ever just like get your fingers off? Like they're off by like a key sometimes. So it's a weird problem to have. Let's see. So let's get file scene. I'll probably want to add that in. So get file scene, return file scene, which is something that I was already tracking before. Add get file scene to extensions list, because we need to know how many files there are that we might change. Okay. We're gonna ignore the main for now. Oh, that's why. Sorry, my confusion was looking at this and wondering why was file visit option hanging out up here? And it's like, oh, right, because I added it to this to not follow some links. So that's fine. Okay, yeah, let's do that as one atomic commit. Ignore some links in conditional consumer worker when traversing the various paths. We don't want to follow any links. Thanks. Also, we'll set a max depth of 64 just to avoid weirdness and to match the way the other worker works. Really, I should unify them. And what I mean by that is, so the input extensionless worker is its own swing worker. It doesn't inherit from the conditional consumer worker because it's not doing anything conditionally. Like, it's just consuming. So it feels wrong to reuse that. And actually, this one is the one I made first. But this thing goes through and it hunts down all the files, proceeds to attempt to find, the dot at the end and grab everything. And then it proceeds to, shit out values and whatnot. This one felt messier to make, I'm not gonna lie. But it is what it is. So I do feel like I could theoretically tweak things a bit, but me. The other thing is, like, this is using an internal class, and inner classes are fine, but also I don't know what it is, but they make me feel like my code is messy. And I don't really have a reason for that, but inner classes generally make me feel like there's like something going funny here. And I don't think actually needs to be in inner class. I could move it out, so we might do that real quick, but let's finish committing some of these various changes first. So let's simplify this import. Yeah, all right. Simplify, update extension action, interface declaration. Cool, thanks. I haven't actually committed either of these things yet. Oh yeah, we don't need that anymore. Very nice. Can I commit you? Let's not yet. Let's finish doing this first. So do this. Number of files to check. Include that. The can execute feels a little bit funny here, so let's ditch it. Oh, I see what it wants. That to that. Okay, yeah. Let's ignore the can execute for now, and then this. Yep, conditional consumer work. Make it possible for consumer worker to state progress. We know how many files we will process in total because the extension calculation that happens at the start will tell us. Boink. Thank you very much. And then add consumer conditional consumer worker can execute. I got like a brief tangent real quick. This style of commit, like with the or not style of commit, this style of saying like the method name, like class name, anthrothrop or whatever it is, method name is from Ruby, and I did like a very, very brief stint of Ruby on Rails, like a very small amount in like 2013, 2014. I did a little bit of Ruby on Rails and also of Grails. And I think that's where I picked up this habit. And I do like it. I mean, it makes it very quick and simple, but it is something that kind of carries over. So do that. And then rename window runner. Yeah, we're going to commit that eventually, but not yet. We're going to commit that before we do a bunch of refactoring on it. This dry run we will leave uncommitted because you don't need to do that yet. And then we're just left with those things, which is fine. That's good. This is fine. This is okay. Yeah. All right, I think we're at the point that we can commit some stuff. So let's do a sweep of the worker status frame to see if there's anything that I should think about at all. Let's see here. So besides my terrible names, but I mean, honestly, like, what else do you want to name these things? So, treeless, default as well. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't have these things separated per se, but I don't care. Like, it's too small to care, basically. We'll separate things out. One thing that does, okay, like, there's one thing that I have thought about that maybe I should do. So, like, when you run this and it's done, like, you're probably pretty happy. And this is probably all you really need to do. So part of me wants to make it so that when you click close on this, if it's not the dry run, that it would just close the whole program and be done. But it's not that necessary. So, yep. And then we're listening to the property change, which is doing that. We can get rid of that thing there. There's only one button bound to this, so that's fine. Yeah. I could also, since here's a refactor for you. We always call show right away. We're not doing anything else with the worker status. So why don't we just do this? Set up frame, set it visible. That way, when you make the frame, you show the frame, right? By the same logic, I could call run, but that I do want to kind of keep separate. So do this. And it's happy, it runs, great. And it's beautiful. All right, great. So that's worker status frame. I think this is fine. I mean, field can be converted to a local variable. Really? Oh, I guess it can because I assign it. And I don't do anything else with the J button either because the frame only has one possible thing to be bound, right? Like there's no Like nothing else is listening to the actions. Like it doesn't really matter if you click on these. They don't care. Actually, I wonder, can I set that selectable? Is there like a... This is deprecated. Why? Replaced by set enabled. I'm curious. Hold on. Set enabled. False. I just want to see. Yeah. I mean, I could do that. All right. Though, then you can't select it to do anything. Which, I mean, you know, of course it's disabled, right? On purpose. But I could imagine maybe there's a world where I want to do this. But I don't actually have any right-click stuff. Like, the only time I think you would want to click on this and do something would be like, I was like, oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. And then, like, maybe there was, like, a right-click action. You could be like, undo it or something. But not particularly necessary right now. So I think I would just... I'll go ahead and disable it. Now you can't click it. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't actually need to be bound at this level, so why bother? Same with the J button. I mean, like the J button stuff, we could be careful about it, right? Where we could say e.getSource equals J button. Return. Like, can do that. But like there literally is no other action. And the code is so small that I kind of don't care. But also, let's be defensive. Why not? Let's do that. And then the compiler gets less mad about me. We could also rename this to close button and give that one an actual real name, because it is the only one that actually really matters. Default list model. This is actually going to be renamed files listing, which is just a list of strings, but we can give that a good name before we commit it. Also, I hate this, but I don't see a way to do it otherwise. Like, it's weird. So like that progress thing comes from here, where it says, hey, here you go. And like is literally in the J, like inside of this, that they just have it hard coded here, like fire property change progress. And like, I don't like this. It might just be because, you know, over a decade ago when I was in school, we were taught, hey, don't use magic constants. And if you do use them, put them in a variable or something like that, and use that everywhere as opposed to the actual thing, so you don't like fat finger it and then cause like something to explode, right? And like, I just wish that this had a like progress name or something, or progress event name, method or constant or something that I could rely on, and then just use that. But you can't. It's just a string, so like, fuck you. And I mean, like, we could work around that, technically speaking, but it's just so annoying. Because it comes from us firing this. We could fire it off ourselves, but me, I say. All right. Anyway, continue on with this. So that's fine. That's fine. That's doing that. We're happy. I do feel weird about lambdas in Java. I really love Scala, so like it works fine, but also it feels really weird because every time I see an anonymous function like that, it makes me always go like, what does this convert to? You know, like, is it making a class and then like putting it into your thing and then it just makes a new instance of it every time? Or is it actually making like a new something else and allocating it every single time? Like what's going on? Would it be better to just make a runnable and do that, you know? I don't know. So, but yeah. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine as is. It just feels weird. So let's call worker status frame done. Let's hit like F11. Things stopped working. Also, speaking of not working. You stop? Oh, you did stop. That was good. Let's listen to the vibe. Hello. Or actually, you know what? Let's break core enough. Okay. Okay. Add worker status frame. Provides progress update as the given worker runs and displays the files that are being operated on by the given worker in a list. Easy enough. Bum, 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 bum. All right, and then we have this. Rename window runner. I don't like this name. Like, I called it a runner because it is a runnable, but I don't like its name. So let's rename it before we commit, and then we can tear it apart. So the question becomes, what do we name it? And also, let's move that here. Worker status frame could exist in workers, right? That could make sense. Yeah, I like that. Move worker status frame to worker package. It just makes sense. Okay, so that's good. That makes me feel a little bit better about that. I think, like, this is the main GUI, so I could just call it that. We could call it GUI runner. Or, you know, graphical user interface runner. I know that feels very verbose, but I also have command line interface. So, like, why not, right? Why not? So there you go. The GUI runner is here. I don't actually need to hold on to my arguments. This is true. So that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. That's good. All right. Let's do it. Add initial GUI. This has actually existed the whole time. As we work through the other GUI elements and pieces. This is pretty big though. Yeah, it's a whole 250 lines, which isn't that crazy. And like, the bulk of the work really is handled by smaller functions and things, so maybe it's not that bad. But I do kind of feel like some of it's a bit much. Like we could maybe inline some stuff, but I don't know. I do like this. I like having separate things like this for that, just for the setup of it, because it makes it very simple. And I did it this way because I really wanted to just position things on their own, because I got tired of jumping around in the code very places. So like, we have the grid back constraint, which is like it's a grid, hence its name. But it gets annoying to like change things all over the place. So I kind of like having one method that actually just sets it up and calls it a day. And it makes it so, like, you know, if I want to reposition something, like if I don't like where this is, or if I wanted to put this over there, right? Finish loading all extensions, check the blah, blah, blah. Like this kind of things, then I could like move it over very easily. So it makes it very simple. So I like that. We could inline some of this stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I do like it this way. It just feels like I have a lot of stuff going on. So, and especially with action performed. I did experiment a little bit, and I didn't save the code of like doing a wrapper class around like a given option to be set and a given like method, like the is dry run and whatnot, to like tie them together and that kind of thing. But it felt like more code than just this for no real increase in clarity on things, and like didn't really matter. So I dropped that. But yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, we don't the builder, right, for the options, we could theoretically kind of move it around or do something, but I don't know. So it's all good. It's kind of used everywhere. It's basically just like me not wanting to track a bunch of extra variables. So, all right. Anyway, I guess I'll be satisfied with this for now. I feel like there could be something to make it be better, but it is fine. So I get the feeling I'll look at this code in 3 months and think, huh, that's kind of gross. But for now, it is what it is, and we'll keep it as it is. Okay. So we're not going to undo this. We're going to keep that as dry. And then lastly, we have the changes to the main files and that kind of thing. So, which I kind of want to preserve. The original main method that's just super simple. I like this code. So why don't we do that? Let's do new Java class original rename code. Wait. Beautiful. Because like this is what I wrote originally to just quickly defeat Windows. So keep that. And then we can do this. So I have the main, do this. This command line interface, I don't like the fact that this is using main. So I'm going to change this to run. Yep, I like that. Change that to run. And then we're good. Log error isn't be called anywhere. Really? Oh, that's right. I just kept this because I like this code. Like, I think it's fun to take the error messages from from things and just write them out to a string for fun. Yeah, right. Well, that can go away then. Pause for user is unnecessary. So then we just have a super simple, tiny little thing, and we're happy. Do that. Lovely. All right, go here. I'm gonna do this. Change CLI main method to run. because I don't actually want to have more than one main method. It might confuse me later. It's good music. All this music, by the way, is going to the Twitch VOD track, which means that once I upload this to YouTube, if I actually make it live and everything, you won't be able to hear the music I'm listening to. So I'll just be sitting here vibing for nothing. And for reference, kids is what we're listening to. This is a good one. This is a good soundtrack right here. All right. So that's good. And we're happy here. We can remove a bunch of things from the imports. And now it's not actually that big of a change anymore. Well, I mean, it's still huge, but yeah, do that. So update main method to call CLI and GUI. Depending on if you pass GUI or not, of course. Of course. Lovely. And then we're going to commit this. Commit original code for the sake of the bit. For reference on the blog. This is the original code I wrote because Windows 10 was too slow when I used the rem command on 1600 files. It just sat there forever and did nothing. So I wrote this program to do it instead, and it was done before Windows finished. I referenced the GitHub on the blog post, so I want to preserve this code for that reference. Good. All right. So that's that. That's that. All right. And now let's go to the README. The code that is referenced on that blog post can be found in the original rename code.java file. All right. Okay. So let's fix this. All right, so we're gonna JPackage in a minute here, and then modify our registry for funsies. So that's good. Do that, do that, do that. Okay, so we need to modify these. Say path and that path. Do. Okay, so I think I can get rid of this if I want to, but let's jar binks, please. Also, I have a sesame bun. Delicious. And it's filled with Anko. Filled with the The delicious red bean. All right, so the jar has been made. Ugh. Let's remove extension bulk rename. Let's see here. Input is the target. Main class is the rename. Extension changer. Yes. I don't like it when I press enter and like a song ends during that. It always makes me think I've done something wrong. All right, so JPEG has just finished running. Good. Good. Okay, so JPEG just finished running, which means in here we now have the XE, right? So theoretically, where am I? Theoretically, I can go to Documents, Code, Personal, dir, rename shitty files, extension bulk thing, good. And then we can do this, and we can say help. Like that, there it is. I logged the optional. I don't remember doing that. Where did I do that? Hold on. Where's this system out? It's hiding somewhere. That's all the help text. It's an optional. Go to the command line interface. Display help if asked. Show help if present. Logger info, yeah. Where's this hanging out? Am I, wait. Wait. Show help if present, logger info. No, because this is a string. That's not it, is it? Huh? Am I crazy? Find in files. Dot out. Now. Logger dot. So my thought is that the string for the help is an option. But help text itself isn't an option. Help text is a string. You're a string. Why are you like that? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's this line that's doing it. Let me prove it. Hi. You. Jar Jar Binks. Remove. Oh, sorry. J package. Ask for help. Maybe it's not. Though that's also weird. It's weird because I accidentally got rid of the showing help and it still showed the help, which makes me think this thing is behaving oddly. Did you actually rebuild it or no? Seems weird. Clean. Let us clean. Okay. System out. Print line. 2 question marks. A bang. Jar Jar Binks. Success is successful. J package. Make that snapshot for me, please. Help. I've broken something. Wait, what? Clean. No more target. Jar Jar Binks. I should now have a target. It's weird that that's... Hold on. Skipping non-existent file. No content was marked for exclusion. Not this shit again. Package. How about that? Is that what I want? It might not be Jar Jar. It might be package. Yeah, it's package that I want. All right, hold on. Clean. Package. Delete. Make the thing. Ask for help. All right, as you can see, question mark, optional if present, bang, bang. So that's interesting, right? That's an interesting one. So let's do this. Run. Cancel. Oh, right. Hold on. Sorry. We can't have GUI be true. There. All right, hold on. Let's so if present gives the optional to the thing that's there, because if so, that's fucking weird. like help string. Right? So that's what you're telling me, right? Yeah, I know. But like that's what doth life? I mean, it's a string. We know that. What is life? But like, notice something here though. Like, look at this. Doing this and being very specific about that, right, results in no optional showing up. Though that's still there. What is up with this? Why is it logging like that? Am I dumb? So wait, is the logger logging? It's saying which method is being called from. That's why it said optional? That is bizarre to me. So like the reason it shows optional is because it's coming from within the optional class. It's basically like giving you, it's like, hey, I'm being called from here. That is so weird. Hold on. Logger dot. Config entering exiting. What's log P? All these look interesting. I mean, it's not really a problem that it's doing that, but it just feels a little bit funny, Because I want to use the logger to print stuff out and whatnot. I don't necessarily want to just say system out. Huh. All right, hold on. Java logger showing method name. It's not going to be. This isn't really it. No. Java util logging suppress logger name class name. Extra message. This is probably it, right? Yes. That's what I want. All right. Extend your class with formatter classes below. My format extends simple. Yada 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 yada. Then your main class set console handler and filing errors your class format. In my case, blah blah blah. Now you're good to go. Okay. You're using a simple formatter. Okay. I mean, yeah, all right. So, I see. Hold on, wait. Tell me more about this. Level 1 message. No, that won't fix it then. FH. What's FH in this original code? File handler. Oh, you have to do it at that level? All right. Here's a question. So what about this? Set encoding, get formatter. Format, etc., etc. So theoretically, I could do something with this, right? Record.get message. Oh, right. You don't actually have anything yet, do you? This is going to look really weird to people on YouTube, but that's okay. All right. Oy. Ta-da! All right. Let's tweak this, shall we? Extract. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. But this works. All right, so instead we'll change this to this class. Just the message. Formatter. Extends. Formatter. Override. Does that. Set format equals new. Just the message formatter. Which problem? Now it's a thing. Great. Simple. There we go. So that makes that a lot simpler. Cool. All right, let's go to logger. Do this. Create and use just the message formatter. The default formatter for the handlers in java.util.logging will print off the error level and the class and method it was called from, which is really cool, but also not what I want when it comes to printing out my errors to the log. Specifically, I don't want this because it makes the help text say optional if present, which just feels silly. So let's ditch all the useful information about the log record and just show its message. Said for that one thing. Yay. Boink. There. So that's good. And then last but not least, do that. We're gonna ignore this for the time being. Command line interface is happy. Graphical user interface is fine. No more main methods besides the one, so that's good. Let's go to the README. Maven clean. See, I even wrote it here for myself. Maven clean package, run this. Do that. This is going to be a thing. Oh. Not you. You. So this needs to be updated. Path. Path. Save. Okay. Now. Hold on. Clean. Package. Delete. Wait. Yeah, delete. Then jpackage. The reason I'm making it executable, by the way, is because it makes it significantly simpler to call from the registry. Because otherwise you have to do this bullshit, and this is awful. Like, you have to escape your escapes and do a bunch of weird things with strings, and it just feels bad. So, I'd rather do this. I've already updated my path variable. So now, if I go to rename shitty Twitter files, set up context menu, click. Adding information is good. Yes, I want to continue. Thank you. Now, oh wait, hold on, I forgot one thing. Ooh, it's bright. Fix extensions command. GUI true. That's just for the one path. GUI true. And then do this. You know, fix extensions. I want to do right. Whoa. Copy the whole thing. Copy the whole thing. Paste it. Fix JFF. Fix JFF. Fix JFF. JFFF. And then GUI false in JFF out JPEG. GUI false in JFF out JPEG on this path. Save. All right, ready? So like right now I can right click and you see it says fix extensions, but now we will do this again. Say yes, I would like to continue. Right click, fix JFF, runs, and it's done. Here, I'll show you that it actually works, right? Call this thing a piece of shit. But then I call fix JFF. Now it's a JPEG. And it wasn't recursive, so I didn't touch this one. So JFIF. Make this be JFFF again. I think I do, for the JFFF, I want this to be recursive. So we need recursive true. So we'll do this, we'll say recursive true, because no one wants those anywhere in their files. Recursive true. Yeah, great. And also, if I just click fix extensions, then it will launch my thing. You can see it found the JFFs, and I could click dry run, and it would say that it would do this. It does log that out as well, which I guess is fine. If I close it, And if we click a singular thing, does this too. Still works. And if I were to, you know, make a new file here, go up, do fix extensions, you can see it shows up, right? Beautiful. So that works. It won't actually do any, it won't actually work, right? Because I still have the dry run mode for the UI. So like technically if I do this, it's not actually going to change anything. Hold on, wait, do this. It won't actually change anything because it's doing a dry run still. So we can fix that real quick. But yeah, theoretically that works. So do that, change extensions. And let's update the README. If you want to see what's doing, you want to have manage yourself. Yeah, cool. I don't need that anymore because we're not really debugging things. And now, hold on. I want, give me an image. Once that's installed in your registry, you'll see this when you right click. Not my row. We want right click. And we should probably update that so it actually looks like the right thing. So let's use the snip, not nip, snip. All right, ready? So snip in 3 seconds, right click. There we go. Beautiful. Save, documents, code, personal, rename shitty Twitter files, right click to change. Bam, change extensions. Oh wait, what? Hole? What just happened? I didn't rename the wrong thing, did I? Oh no, this is that. Dang, yeah. Cool. This Reggie file is happy. So let's see, let's update README for GUI edits. And add the screenshot for the context menu. Add .reg file for easy Windows installation. There we go. And then last but not least, you know, we'll just ditch these changes. And that works. And then ignore the output dir for the exe. Commit. Beautiful. And there we go. Now my program's done. That was a cool little noise there. It was 8 seconds of just like, very good. Okay, so that's fairly exciting. Things work now. I can click this. I think there's a way to minimize this if we wanted to, but I don't really care that much. Hold on. Clean. Package. I don't need to delete this every time, I'm pretty sure, but, you know, might as well. That's the wrong file. Package. Like Geppetto, but different. There you go. Now, if I call this, I call fix extensions. And I do a dry run first. So we're going to rename these. This one says it will do a dry run. And then I will undo that. And you can see would rename, would not rename, would rename. And it did. It did, in fact, rename things. Oh, there's 2 files in here. Okay. I was curious. I'm like, why are there 3 things there? Because there's 3 things there. Smart. Okay. So that works out well. Makes me relatively happy. Because now whenever I see the horror of this anywhere, I can just click fix this and it will do it for me. Cool. So that's it for that. Next, I suppose we could fiddle with this. But I want to take a break real quick. So I will be back in a couple of minutes, I guess. So